TGCRequiem here. We are playing some Mardu Pyromancer. We have won the die roll. So, Jerry Thompson has just made top 8 with this. I don't quite know what his deck list is. At PT Rivals of Ixalan. The one lander here without any filtering, Faithless Looting, is not really acceptable. This one seems pretty good though. So we get some filtering and some hand disruption. I think we'll keep this one here. I haven't played much of this deck. I'm not quite sure how necessary lots of mana early is. I think with the fact that we have the Faithless Lootings, we'll have more looks at lands. So I'm going to put this on the bottom. See what our opponent has. Infect. Flash and black for Plague Stinger. They don't really have any creatures, which makes me feel like we want to just take the Plague Stinger here. But we are going to get to Inquisition them again next turn. I think we actually probably take the Blossoming Defense here. We want to take that over the Vines, I think, because the Vines is only a pump spell once they get to 2 mana, where the Blossoming Defense is a pump and protection spell. So I think we take the Blossoming Defense here. We also could probably kill the Plague Stinger if they tap out for it turn 2, so we actually have quite a few things we can do. We're going to snag that Blossoming Defense for now. Opponent plays out the Rainforest and passes. And before we do anything, we are gonna go ahead and Faithless Looting, get a better idea of what we're going to have in hand before we make this decision. So we could pitch the Bedlam Reveler right now, and the other Faithless Looting. That allows us to hold up Kolaghan's Command next turn in case they do get another creature down. So yeah, I think we just do that for now. A little ways out from being able to do anything with Reveler, and against Infect, we're more worried about stopping them from progressing their game plan than we are about putting pressure on them early. Oops, looks like we tapped wrong there. And also use Kolaghan's Command to return the Reveler, so looks like our opponent just drew another land. Pass. All right. Opponent kind of makes a little bit of a mistake there, playing out the oh wait, no, they had gotten the Breeding Pool, so they just played out of Forest. We're good there. Doesn't look like they drew into anything useful. At this point, I'm actually going to just play out the Lingering Souls. They haven't put anything on the board that stresses us, but this will allow us to start putting the pressure on them, closing the game, to close the game, basically. And then that saves us for if they play out a creature, we'll have the Kolaghan's Command, we can return the Reveler. We can also essentially just put 2 more Lingering Souls. 4 Souls tokens is actually a pretty decent clock. Really not in a spot where I'm too concerned. Our opponent can't even fetch for a Dryad Arbor, so I think we're just going to actually play out the Blood Crypt tapped. Run out another Lingering Souls. Opponent has played out their Windswept Heath now, actually. Second Forest already. We know they have a Vines and Immediate Growth. Looks like they're going to be playing out a Plague Stinger here. Blood Moon doesn't really do anything for us at the moment. Our opponent has 2, 4, at least 7 Infect. I think we're just going to plan to attack with a couple of the spirits. I think that if they run like a main deck dismember and we get only have 1, they kill it, they might still have enough pump to get lethal through. For Polygon's command puts 5. So we could cast Bedlam Reveler and possibly get a creature. I think we actually are just going to Faithless Looting here. Opponent is unlikely to be able to get lethal through right now. We could discard the Souls and the Blood Moon and then use the Marsh Flats to actually recast Lingering Souls. If we had done that before combat, we might have attacked with all 4 tokens there. So with Pendlehaven, they're looking at least 8 Infect, so we definitely have to chump. I think at this point we are just chumping. We still would have them on. They play no other creatures. We could attack for 4, probably 3 next turn. We're still doing all right. Probably attack for 4 actually. So now because we're going to chump 1, we had 5. We want to attack with 3. Puts the opponent down 9. Yeah, so the opponent's in this weird position where they can't do anything. So now they're going to hold up Pendlehaven. Thoughtseize is a good draw here. Again, we know get rid of their best spell here. And mutagenic isn't close. So we can't even really Kolaghan's command except for in response to Pendlehaven right now. What we could maybe do is force a block. Vines is actually going to. They have still casting the Vines. We're going to attack with 4. The opponent didn't attack, so we are able to send 1 more Souls token than we were thinking. Now they're going to presumably pump this with Pendlehaven before damage, at which point in response we could Kolaghan's command, returning the Reveler. That would force them to burn either Mutagenic Growth or Vines of the Vastwood. And I think the fact that we get Reveler back, cast it, and draw 3 new cards makes that worth the effort. Again, knowing that one of these lands they have to burn through one of their spells here. So we're going to return target creature card from the graveyard and 2 damage. So 2 damage here, return the Reveler. And this, we're fine not killing it. This is just going to force them to have to burn one of their pump spells. Then we can reload with Reveler next turn. Presumably they just use Mutagenic Growth, but you're going to go with the Vines, and that's totally fine. All affected. Now we're in a situation where our opponent, you know, if they peel like Become Immense, they could potentially do 10 Infect, but we have a couple blockers. If they peel something that's going to allow them to get some damage through, like a Rancor or a, whatever the unblockable blue instant spell that Infect plays, like if they have that, that's not gonna, they're not gonna have enough damage to get through, so still fine in that regard. So I think we just play the Swamp, play the Reveler. Start our hand, draw 3, get another Kolaghan's Command. I think we just kind of play the same game here. We're going to attack with 3 of these. Back 2. Probably just Kolaghan's Command after the Pendelhaven Pump, make them burn another pump spell. But we'll also make them discard a card. So if they have 2 pump spells here, they're down to none to keep their creature alive, which is fine. And we're just taxing their resources. Don't know what they have in hand now. And we're fine with this. We're going to be able to start aggressively attacking with Bedlam Reveler next turn. Oh, because they only could pump it, they also took 1 damage here. So basically, what was it? Would have had 3 damage. I'm not 100% certain there why the Plague Stinger died. Oh, Pendelhaven was countered because they mutagen. Okay, so right, so they mutagenic growthed the Plague Stinger, therefore the Pendelhaven pump can take effect. So the 2 damage from the Kolaghan's Command plus the 1 damage from the Spirit. It looks like the opponent's conceded. We're going to go to game 2. Seems like it would be a pretty good matchup for this Pyromancer deck. I believe we would probably want Fatal Push. We don't want to be just on red-based removal. Piny Needle actually be potentially good here against the Inkmoth Nexuses. We're not gonna want Artifact Destruction at sorcery speed. Collective Brutality could be pretty good. And Wear Tear, specifically the Wear portion, good against the Inkmoth. I don't know that we need 2 needles. I think I'd rather have the needle than the Blood Moon. I mean, Blood Moon also shuts off the Inkmoth. Maybe we do a mix of 1 of each. Dreadbore, a little weaker. Not as big of a fan of that. We can get some cheaper removal in here. Honestly, the Burst Lightning, for that matter, not necessarily great. Forked Bolt, however, has some major upside if you hit a couple creatures and swing. Oh, what do we do here? What do we do? They did have the flyers, so we definitely want Lingering Souls. We could probably cut a couple Pyromancers. I think we want to keep the Revelers, maybe cut down to like 3 Reveler. We already have a couple Brutality. I don't know if we need more. Also looking at maybe Blood Moon. Again, the thing is we have enough interaction that we should hopefully be able to stress them until we can get to a win condition of Young Pyromancer, Bedlam, Reveler. I think I'm actually more of a fan of... Yeah, but Pivy Needle's cheap. But they probably have less that can blow up a Blood Moon. Let's do a little of each here. What are we looking like at this point? Here, Helix. We can cut up Brutality. We cut one more Reveler. Oh. Somehow we're off on the counts. MTGO sometimes gets confused. Somehow we now have 76 cards in our deck where we only had 75 before. This is far from me being 100% confident on what the best approach is in the matchup. I think it's one of those things where we're already strong in the matchup and we have an even stronger sideboard. Unfortunately, this is no good. No black mana. That's even worse. Oh, I think we gotta keep that. We do get a scry. And we're on the draw. Get a Glistener Elf and then bolt it. Unless they have a couple mutagenic growths, not saving that there. Could get into a spot here too where we might be able to Blood Moon our opponent out. Not likely if they're going for a forest here, though they might be on like yeah, I was gonna say they might get a breeding pool if they have a whatever the blue infect creature is. Oh, Invisible Stalker. Hexproof and can't be blocked. Oh, that's problematic. Oh wow. So if we can get this Blood Moon down, that Invisible Stalker is going to be a real slow clock. I should have pulled that Helix. Oh yeah. I was gonna say Noble Hierarch is good, unfortunately. But we will be able to shut most of their mana off. Yeah, so Blood Moon probably is a little better then, considering how much more aggressive this mana base is. Yeah, without that Noble Hierarch, we would have probably been okay to kind of race them with this Pyromancer. As it is, it's not to say we can't. We are still loaded with burn spells. Problem is it's going to take, what? They're going to attack for 2 every turn with this Invisible Stalker. Okay, they do have a forest. Now they could get 2 pumps in a single turn. You assume each pump's worth about 4 points of damage. That's 6. Probably have... Yeah, I mean, if they have the hand, It could have us in 2 to 3 turns. Fortunately, Thought Seize is not super great when behind like this. You know, it creates the tokens, but unfortunately the tokens can't do anything. Invisible Stalker is just kind of shutting down our... Well, we can only cast one anyway, so position seems like the right one. I'm maybe gonna just burn a pump spell on the Hierarch. Yeah, this way my Pyromancer can't attack. What else do they have in hand? Maybe just like a Become Immense that I can't take. Oh. Well, that's fine. Presumably they'll use the Become Immense next turn. Don't really have to throw the Thought Seize then. We're gonna need to get some power on the board fast. This Melda 5 doesn't really support that. Nor the fact that we're playing a version that's gonna try and slowly grind the player out. So we are actually, because they didn't use the Become Immense, we're gonna fire it off now. Costing us 2 life versus 6. Definitely an upgrade or a win there. We know they already have a Windswept Heath in hand. I would kind of presume they do the same thing again. I think we do attack. If they burn a Blossoming Defense to chump this token, then great for us. And I just don't imagine that happening. Really like a Faithless Looting would be really good here. We would love to trade this Lightning Helix for something else. Pinched here without a way to cast the Lingering Souls. Most bizarre of races. Do question in for game 3. It looks like we're probably going to be on the play, so they're potentially a little more powerful. With the opponent knowing about it, they might be able to sideboard for it better. Okay, so they really have us on a 2-turn clock unless we can kill that Hierarch. If we can kill the Hierarch, that becomes a 4-turn clock, which we could potentially race. Now, the opponent still has Ugh. Based on our position, I think we just have to attack. They blow a pump spell on the Noble Hierarch again. Fine, but we're in a position where we need a very unlikely set of draws anyway. Definitely like if we do keep Blood Moon in to pull the Lightning Helix as possible. Also, Lingering Souls should be pulled over the like Bedlam Reveler. It's also possible that Young Pyromancer is just better than Bedlam Reveler in the matchup. Invisible Beats. So if we can kill their Hierarch, get in for 4. Yeah, the Infect actually doesn't matter. If we can kill their Hierarch and get in for 4. Ooh, okay. Yeah, if we can kill the Hierarch, get in for 4. Souls. We kill that, do 2 damage. I was gonna say we could pitch the Lingering Souls, but if we cast it next turn, it doesn't matter. The Stalker has us the following turn. But if we can't kill Lingering Souls or kill Noble and still do 2 to the opponent, and make them discard a card. Question though is whether or not it's worth killing the Hierarch ahead of the attack or not. We kill the Hierarch and then attack in. If they don't block with the Glistener, we do 3. There are some outs here that all rely on the Hierarch dying. I assume we count on the Hierarch not jumping here. Problem, however, is that if the Glistener Elf chumps our Pyromancer, then we don't have lethal the next turn. We could get in for potentially like 2. The next turn, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think what we have to do is we just have to kill the Noble Hierarch, make them discard, and then kind of hope to draw a bolt. Doesn't really matter if the Pyromancer dies here. We're not going to get more than 1 more attack. The extra tokens are irrelevant. Oh, that's a bummer. We're actually just dead to that. We'll concede. Alright, so I think we are going to bring in the Blood Moon. We're going to pull the Helix. I think we could cut a couple Lingering Souls. Maybe we bring in another Pyromancer. And I'm not super thrilled with Burst Lightning, but the game certainly could go. Let's just cut the thing. I think we're gonna go with the collective brutality here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13. Okay. So we'll be on the play. Like the exact opposite of the hands we had earlier. Now we have no lands and too little interaction. We only have one fetch. I think we have to mulligan this. Oh, this is fine. We'll put that on the top. Play Marsh Flats. Since we know we want to draw that, we'll just wait to crack the flats. We're probably just going to get a swamp at first anyway, in case we draw into a Blood Moon. Excuse me for the cough, got a little bit of a cold going on. So I think we just get the Blighted Agent and then bolt the Noble Hierarch here. They have another one. If they run it out, we could kill it. We definitely have to kill it. It might have been, now that I think about that, it may have been better to let them, no, because they would have still had the mana up to protect it. Probably should have actually Marsh Flats there. Stakes around. And again, it's possible that we may end up getting to a spot where we're going to crack the Marsh Flats for a right, so Noble. We know they can protect the Hierarch with a mutagenic growth from our collective brutality. But we can make them burn it. We also make them burn a vine. I like the 2 mode here where we actually go after the opponent's hand and the Hierarch, pitch in the mountain, and use the Marsh Flats afterwards. So if they burn the growth or the vines, we just basically rip the other one. Then we can kind of make that same attack the following turn if necessary. We may want to save for an infect creature. We'll see what happens. So they use the vines, give it protection. Seems like the mutagenic growth's a little better there, but you're gonna, doesn't really matter, right? You're losing both either way. Right now they have 2 lands. I think we just crack for the Sacred Foundry in case we draw a Lingering Souls. We'll just pass here. Again, they just have too many. Any of their pump spells protects it from the Collective Brutality. There's not a whole lot of reason to at it. Presumably our opponent's determining whether or not they want to go get Dryad Arbor or something. Blue. The fact that they got a blue mana source instead of like a forest tells me they disrespect Blood Moon. I guess, you know, they do have another fetch. I do know that they're still on Windswept Heath and everything. Again, any of their pump spells can just outsize the Collective Brutality. If we draw another land here, we could definitely pitch the Collective Brutality. Go at whatever they have in hand. This looting is a good draw. And then next turn we can flash back the Faithless Looting. We only have actually 4 spells in the graveyard in case we were to draw a Bedlam Reveler. So this is good because now we could Collective Brutality and Lightning Bolt. The opponent still hasn't gone for any other creatures. Kind of good with them going for a pump spell here, forcing them to use it on their turn. Still know they have 1 land in hand. Just all I want to do is slow them down a little bit here. Still want to hold up some mana. I mean, Infect is still going to be the fastest way they beat us. Not concerned about 1 point of damage. A turn off Noble so much. They're also still being incredibly disrespectful to Blood Moon. I really like to draw Blood Moon. Alright, so they finally play the Windswept. Well, they're going for a bit of damage. They get a 2 for 1. The odds are still low. They had 1 other card in there, but the upside of Bolton, the hierarch there, was a lot higher than it was at any previous point that we've been in. They're going to at least get a forest out of this, but it does shut the rest of their lands down. Love to have gotten that a turn earlier. So if we don't draw anything useful here, 10 Faithless Looting. Presumably they have just pump spells right now, so pump and or protection. I think it's a good time to dig. I think we can pitch the wear tear here. We're not so worried about. Yeah, so I'll end up just keeping the Inquisition, and then we'll fire off the Inquisition. Blessing. I must have drawn the Apostle's Blessing just this turn, otherwise they'd have been able to protect the Noble. And we know they have a Misty Rainforest, Misty Mountain, a Hobbit, Lord of the Ring. They're getting a little low on the clock. We need to draw some sort of win con. I don't even really know what we want to name here. I guess we'll just go ahead and name Ink Moth just to be on the safe side. I don't think that they have anything else that activates really. 2 forests now. I'll hold on to this. We may need to go at them. We have a couple mountains. No need to rush it out yet. Essentially have our opponent on 10 points of life. Oh, that's a sorcery. And then this should allow us to close the game pretty quickly. We'll be able to pitch Lingering Souls, recast Lingering Souls, attack with Reveler next turn. Really, I think what we're most dead to... Actually, let's take the Abrupt K, just make sure we close them out. They have an Invisible Stalker, but they can't get it on the battlefield. Should be done this next turn. Definitely feel like a matchup that we're a little favored in. Thought-provoking to some extent. The Invisible Stalker, a bit unexpected, but then again, pretty good in this sort of matchup, I suppose. We didn't have Blood Moon, I'm sure they would have been able to pump it at a much quicker rate to close out the first game. So, bring in for lethal. Actually, our opponent did draw a fair amount of land, but we are on turn 14, so still probably a lot of land for Infect. But I mean, I'm running probably just as many land, or no more land than they are. Both about the same number of land. So, anywho, good match. We will be back with more Mardu Reveler soon. If you want to subscribe, there's a link in the middle, and there'll be a link to the playlist for more Mardu Reveler as I get more reps within it over time. Please enjoy.